happen. Stephen Craigan is at Rugby Park for Kilmarnock against Hearts. We've got our commentary team in Dingwall, John Robertson and Rob McLean for Ross County against Motherwell. And in McDermott Park for St Johnstone against Dundee, it's Alan Preston and Liam McLeod.
Thank you, Richard. A glorious day here in the fair city. The sun splitting the skies here, and in an act of defiance, the St Johnstone supporters over on the far side have unveiled a banner which reminds the Dundee fans of how little they've won over the last 52 years, or words to that effect, as they taunt their rivals. And of course they don't like each other very much, the St Johnstone and Dundee fans. Saints might be relegated, but 3 major trophies during this stint dining at the top table tells its own story. All those European adventures as well, the win over Rosenborg, pushing Galatasaray. However, it's championship football for them as Dundee prepare to kick off in the sunshine, shooting towards the Ormond stand left to right in their change kit. The light grey tops, navy shorts, grey socks with the navy tops. St Johnstone today, despite being at home, wearing their third choice kit. It's all black with green flashes, and it's Dundee kick off. Long ball straight forward down this right hand side, looking for Murray as St Johnstone do a bit of defending in these early stages. Taylor Stephen is enough to get involved and get it clear as Sidibe controls it in the chest and drives across the halfway line as he sprints away from Portales. A brilliant run to the edge of the area as shots blocked, and it's a really important challenge as well, which came in right at the last there, and it looked as though Sidibe was going to come in to the penalty area and get a shot away. They might get a chance here on the follow-up. It's Victor Griffiths with the effort, which is blocked, and it goes out by the corner flag for a throw-in. It's really good play early on from St Johnstone, applying the pressure in these opening seconds, but it's a really important block by Zaid Lakesh, Alan, just as Sidibe was getting very interested.
Yeah, great start to the game from St Johnstone. It's lovely play by Sidibe, and he takes off, he turns and he's away, and they're not catching him, and he lets fly. And you're right, Lakesh is the one that manages to get the blocking, but a really good start from St Johnstone.
That's what Ross County supporters will want to hear, because they need a favour from the Perth side as the throw-in comes into the box. It's cleared by Robertson, picked up on the far side, and it's Lyle Cameron shifting it over on the left for Dundee, but Saints have the ball, and it's going to be a little pass forward there by, on the far side, by Balodis. A couple of goals recently, including the winner against Celtic here, as Stephen Duke McKenna picks up over on that right hand side, rolls it back into his own half, and eventually it's all the way back to the goalkeeper Ross Sinclair, who comes in today. And as Alan was saying, that the manager Simo Valicari has picked a side of players who will be at the club next season. Long ball forward for Saints, drops to the edge of the Dundee box, and Astley swivels and turns and launches it high as Palmer Holding gets something onto it. He might be able to keep it in play on this near side level with the edge of the centre circle. Griffiths gets back and wins it for St Johnstone, and there's a foul by Lyle Cameron, who will be hoping he's playing his last game for Dundee today before heading off to Rangers next season. And he is brought down Holt, and it's a free kick to St Johnstone about 7 or 8 yards from this near side touchline level with the edge of the centre circle.
There'll be a nice battle in there between Holt and Cameron.
There will be a free kick taken here by Taylor Stephen, launching it forward. It's going to break into the penalty area for Mackenzie Kirk. He's such a live wire as he picks up on the left, rolls it out to the touchline, comes back to Stephen, gets the ball into the box. Sidibe gets it onto the chest. Not a great bit of control, but he's managed to get back onto it, and it's played out to this near side again for McPake. Tried to get the ball into the box, it's blocked, and Dundee get it away. But this has been a very lively start by the side relegated on Wednesday, playing with a freedom and without pressure that had been heaped on their shoulders for weeks and months, having spent the vast majority of the Premiership season at the bottom of the table, once Hearts and Hibs got their acts together. Hibs perhaps more spectacularly so. And there's another free kick, and it's another clumsy challenge, and this time it's by Josh Mulligan. It's another player who looks to be playing his final league game for Dundee. We need to see what his future holds, as it's played back into the St Johnstone half here for Sven Sprangler, who captains the side. this afternoon. Out to Balodis on the right. Onto that far side touchline for young Franchak. He gets the ball forward, but it comes all the way through to Trevor Carson in the Dundee goal. Dundee, they've filled the north stand off to the left. They've filled the section of the main stand that they've been allocated off to the left here as well. And they've also got probably about half of the Ormond stand off to the right, maybe just shy of that. As St Johnstone pick up on this near side. How are the early exchanges going in Dingwall, I wonder? John Robertson and Rob McLean watching that one.
Yeah, Liam, we've just had the first flurry from Ross County, looking a bit twitchy from kickoff, looking a bit nervy, but they might have a chance here because Ronan Hale is causing big problems in the middle of that Motherwell defence. Nisbet 25 yards out, shifts it the right side. Ifeti's cross deflected, spinning behind for a corner kick. It's their second corner in quick succession. Before that, there was a ball in from Ifeti, which almost offered up a big chance early on for Ronan Hale. So having got over their initial nerviness in the first couple of minutes, Ross County now looking as if they mean business, John.
Yep, they have. Motherwell come out, you know, a nice couple of moves there. Lenny Miller tried one, but County have got their part now. They've settled and they whipped this one in. It's a free kick, but yeah, it's a lively start. cagey, a wee bit cagey. You can obviously sense the nerves around in the stands, and you know, County really need a goal to get them going. And
I mean, Motherwell opened up, Liam, pretty much the way you're talking about St Johnstone, with that freedom about them. Wimmer has changed half the team, obviously. He's looking towards the summer, he's looking towards who'll be here, who'll not be here in terms of the Motherwell personnel. But it feels like a free shot for them, so they're dangerous for Ross County. But it does look in the last couple of minutes as if Ross County are starting to realise that their season rests on this 90 minutes. 0-0 in Dingwall.
Yeah, and for County supporters who are listening in, St Johnstone the better team here, and there's a flick for goal by Kirk, 6 yards out, goes over the bar. Really good play down the left-hand side by Saints, and it was a good ball into the box, and Kirk, it is back to goal, but he tried to backheel flick it into the net. It goes over the bar, and it stays goalless here, as it is in Dingwall, as it is at Rugby Park. 6-0 in Perth.
And listen to Rob there saying there was a nervousness, there's certainly a nervousness here with Dundee. St Johnstone have came out the traps, they've opened in 6 minutes, been the better side. Sidibe's won 2 or 3 headers already, he's caused concern with his pace, and that was a really good ball in there by Stephen of the left hand side, and the flick by Kurt just over the top of the bar. So Dundee have not really started yet, but here's an opportunity for them. Yeah, and it's Scott Tiffany's first real feel of the ball, driving down the left-hand side deep into the St Johnstone half. It's well defended in the end up over on that far side. And Franchak gets it out, and it's going to be a throw into Dundee, level with the St Johnstone penalty spot just about. Over on their left side as they attack the goal to the right. We're watching from up high, the back of the main stand, directly above Tony Docherty's visiting dugout. It's Lyle Cameron getting the ball into the box. Murray flicks on, blocked on the 6-yard line, cleared by Kirk, and now Sidibe's on his bike again, and it's 2-on-2. Across the halfway line goes Sidibe. Support arriving on the left. He showed way too much of it to Shaughnessy, who's allowed to make the challenge. He had no right to do so. And now Cameron steals away from Griffith. Into the St Johnstone half he goes. Out to Tiffany on the left. Murray's waiting in the middle. Palmer Holden there too. Another couple arriving. Tiffany forced back the way. The ball by Portales to the right hand side of the D for Cameron. And then to Portales again, who rolls it to Mulligan, right hand side of the St Johnstone box, shuffles onto the right and across the face of the goal. No takers, goal kick, and it stays 0-0. It's the first time we've seen Dundee bare their teeth in the match, and it's ended up a St Johnstone goal kick, and it stays 0 each. The chances at both ends here. Saints 0, Dundee 0. I think Sidibe there, he overhits it when he's running through, but you've got to say really good defending by Shaughnessy. He just bides his time, drops off on him, and the time's right, he goes in to win the ball. And then up the other end, it's a cross-come shot, flashing across the goal, wide of the target. Beginning to hot up now. Dundee need to settle down a little bit. And Ross County, in all likelihood, need Dundee to lose because of the goal difference. There are 6 goals between them. Sidibe springs. See, when you see him, you think he's just a little lad, but he wins so many headers. He just beat Shaughnessy again. Yeah, he's got some pace on him too. Throw in on this near side for St Johnstone, which Taylor Stephen takes, balls down the left hand side, comes off the head of Shaughnessy.
helped on its way by Mulligan. It's going to break to Victor Griffith though, and he turns it back into his own half for Balodis. He'll knock it out to that right-hand side for Franchak. St Johnstone were to win this, they'd be going down with one of the highest points tallies that have been picked up by a side that's finished 12th in the Premiership. 35 points would be the highest to go down automatically since 09. And Inverness went down on the final day to be replaced by St Johnstone that season, or for the season after. Saints came on under Derek McInnes. And it's been quite the journey for them since then. Shaughnessy heads it out for a throw, and I'm not sure what that noise was in the background.
That was me, Liam, because
I didn't know you had that octave in you.
Well, I know, nor did I. It was quite alarming for me too, I have to say. Zach Ashworth swinging in his third corner kick of this first half already, which tells you that Ross County are getting into good areas. He curled it into the back post. There were 2 or 3 Ross County players clustering around at that back post trying to get a header in on target. It ended up just looping into the gloves of Ellery Balcom, but the signs here, John Robertson, are quite encouraging for County at the moment.
Yeah, they are. It's County that are looking the more dangerous side, as you say there. They've just come off the shoulder of Akio right there and just looked into the hands of Balcom, so a slight opportunity for County, but Don Cowie will be hugely encouraged by the start.
Yeah, and here another great ball in from the left for St Johnstone has gone over flicked over his own bar. I think it was Astley got the final touch onto it.
I'm telling you now, he didn't have a clue where that was going.
Yeah.
He swung a leg at it and it could have flown in the back of the net.
As it stands, Ross County are going into the playoff final for the 3rd successive season. No right to be up for last season's Premiership, given they were 3-0 down to Partick Thistle. As the corner comes in, helped on its way by Griffith. Dundee clear, out of the box it comes, and then little pass back onto the halfway line, which will be collected here by Sprangler. Gets it forward to DB on the turn, away from Shaughnessy, driving into the box to the left-hand side of the area. It's Kirk. His effort's blocked by Astley. It's not a great touch by Cameron inside the D of his own area. Breaks out to the far side. Franchak with the effort. It spins up high into the air, and Shaughnessy prevents the corner and hands it out for a throw-in for St Johnstone over on the far side. 11 goalless minutes here. No goals in any of the 3 bottom 6 matches this afternoon as the league season draws to a close.
This looks
so
promising
far
again for Ross County. It's Mickey Efete with a great effort from the right side of the box. The angled shot is firstly beaten away by Ellery Balcom, then grabbed by the goalkeeper. They're putting together some nice moves. Ross County, they are starting to create opportunities, and the immediate future for them looking pretty bright. But of course, they have to win the game and hope things work out in Perth.
Yeah, they do. As I said, the 6 goals. If this was a draw, it would probably be enough for Dundee, unless County go goal crazy in Dingwall this afternoon. And out of the 2 of them, out of County and Dundee have been the more potent in front of goal this season. It's quite a disparity actually between them in the goals for column, as Tiffany picks up wide on the left against Franchak. His cross blocked by the Saints youngster, and it's going to break kindly here at the edge of his own box for McPate. Rolls it back into it, and St Johnstone clear. Shaughnessy takes it down. A Ross County goal would make things very interesting, wouldn't it? It would change the discourse.
It would, but and the thing is as well, Liam, is that I know Tony's saying he can only control the controllables, and I'm just going to see what happens in our game. He'll know, because if there's a goal scored up at Dingwall, it's going to come down here. The fans will know. The St Johnstone fans will go crazy.
Yeah, they'll let them know.
They'll let them know without a doubt.
Yeah, well, Liam, one of those late annoying flags has just gone up. Otherwise, it was another big chance for Ross County. Again, the problem for Motherwell stemming from the right side. Mickey Efete is very prominent in the game. Again, he got into a great area. Again, it was the angled shot that was blocked, and eventually the flag went up. But they are hammering on the door here, Ross County, for an opening goal.
No goals here either, and still no goals in the dead rubber game at Rugby Park. There's Killian Hearts in their seasons. And it's going to be a Dundee ball here, but level with the edge of the centre circle in their own half, a throw-in, which Astley is over. And he's looking for an option ahead of him.
Well, optimism in Dingwall is Ronan Hale, because he clashed with the goalkeeper. The ball hammered behind the goal. It bounced back off an advertising board, so he turned round. The ball was in play, and from an impossible angle, he chipped it up over the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. And he looked towards the referee and was amazed that Don Robertson wasn't going to give it.
Honestly, you got this is one for sports scene highlights tonight. He's done brilliant. He's blocked the shot, but it's flew at the park, at an advertising board, come back. By the time he's got himself up, he sees the ball in front of him and thinks, well, I've got a chance here. What a finish from 2 yards from the byline, and he's away celebrating. But much to his chagrin, the ball dove was going out for a bike hit.
Marquez losing out on the left-hand side, and he's thinking it's a throw-in for his team. It's gone the other way. So Franchak over it, deep inside his own half. St Johnstone, they started the game very well. They've had a couple of excellent balls into the box from both wings, particularly down this left-hand side. Dundee have been more of a threat just in the last few minutes. And they're on the ball here with Cameron. He's got a little pocket of space here. He decides go for goal. He's not far away. Well, that would have been some parting gift from Lyle Cameron as he hit it from 25 yards just about. And he's aimed for that top left corner, and it just goes about a foot past the left-hand side of the goal frame, and it stays St Johnstone 0, Dundee 0 on 15 minutes.
A brilliant strike by Cameron. You can see Ross Sinker, the keeper, diving full length to his right-hand side. What a strike that was, very close.
Breaks in the midfield here for Portales. Found himself in that position more often recently. It's a chip ball to the left-hand side of the area for Tiffany. No flag at the moment. Tiffany eventually is flagged offside as he started to run out towards the corner flag, and that will be a free kick to St Johnstone, which goalkeeper Sinclair's going to take. And you were highlighting it earlier, Alan, when we were having a chat about St Johnstone's season, and goalkeeper was a serious issue for them in the early part of the campaign. Obviously they rectified that in the second half with the loan, but it was a serious issue. So many goals were conceded, the needless goals as well in the first half of the season.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think that when in the Championship, I think they need an experienced keeper again. I really do. I think they should go right down the spine of their team and then try and blood some youngsters that they've got in the academy. But
Andy Fisher did quite well, though, didn't he?
He was very good. The Celtic game when they won 1-0, he was incredible. And that's what I think. If they'd had an experienced keeper like Fisher for the whole season, you just never know. They might have got enough points to stay up.
Well, it was St Johnstone in this position 12 months ago when they went to Motherwell and won, trying to stay out of the playoff position, consigning Ross County to that two-legged affair.
But again, it was the goalkeeper that kept them up.
Mitov, yeah. Brilliant save from Theo Bair's penalty in the final day. Kept Saints up. County went into the playoff against Wraith. More comfortable than it had been the year ago, the year before against Thistle. In comes the long throw in for Dundee into the Saints box, cleared, and then just walloped away to safety by McPake. The bouncing ball is going to come all the way through to Mulligan, who will roll it back to his keeper. Again, goalkeeper, he's kind of across the season, Tony Docherty, he's flip-flopped between Carson and McCracken. It's not been a position that Dundee have excelled in this season either. See that by their goals against column. They're good for a goal, we know that. Simon Murray in particular, we know that. But they've been so poor at the back this season. They've leaked goals left, right and centre.
And you look at the start of the League Cup campaign they had, where they were scoring goals for fun, and you thought Dundee will be fine because they've got a lot of goal scorers in their team. They'll win matches, but they couldn't keep clean sheets, and that's where they're in this position that they're in.
Almost 18 minutes in here, and it remains nothing each. Dundee this season, 55 goals scored, 77 conceded, worst in the league. And it's a good amount more than St Johnstone have conceded this term. It's Simon Murray on the near side, losing out there to Sprangle, but the ref, who's Stephen McLean, didn't like the challenge. Free kick goes Dundee's way, run about the halfway line, just in between the two technical areas. 0-0 here, 0-0 in Dingwall, 0-0 in Kilmarnock. Final Premiership action of the season. Clip ball forward there by Astley. to try and get Palmer Holding involved, but it's just bounced away from him and out for a throw-in for Saints deep inside their own half. Palmer Holding was on the score sheet in the opening day of the season against Dundee United at Tannadice, and obviously at that point you've got all those hopes and dreams, and Dundee's hopes and dreams would have been another top 6 finish. Remember, Tony Docherty was nominated for Manager of the Year 12 months ago.
I watched them in the second game of the season tear Hearts apart up at Dens, and you think, yeah, they're going to be fine, no problems for them, but it's been a struggle, it really has. And you just think, where would they be without Simon Murray's goals?
Yeah, many of them have been crucial to the outcome of matches across the season. Breaks back here to Carson, long ball down the right-hand side. Palmer Holding gets his head onto it, but it's picked up instead there by Taylor Stephen. Rolls it infield to Holt, and back into his own box for Sven Sprangler, who launches it with the left foot up towards the halfway line. Sidibe doesn't get anything onto it. It's going to come all the way through to Clark Robertson. Game's got a bit scrappy just in the last 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, it has. You just wonder that there comes a spell where Tony just says, right, we'll take the draw, draw's enough. You know, he's got to know what the result is up in Dingwall, he has to. Well, I'm sure Don Cowie will be the same. You know,
yeah.
You'll have to know as well. If St Johnstone were to score, it just sets the whole thing off.
The thing is, you wouldn't bank on either team keeping a clean sheet. That's the problem for them. It's out for a throw over on the far side for St Johnstone, almost at the midway point of their own half. How are things looking in Dingwall, Rob?
Long throw coming up. Zach Ashworth flings it in at the near post. Motherwell get it clear. 1 or 2 flutters from Motherwell in attack in the last couple of minutes. 5 changes. They've taken a while to get to grips with the team selection and what Michael Wimmer is asking them to do here. There was a moment Callum Slattery slipped a ball into the box for Kutrumbas. Ross County managed to deal with that particular problem. Maybe signs here that Motherwell are starting to settle down, but it's certainly Ross County, John Robertson, who've threatened more to open the scoring.
Yeah, it looks the first 20 minutes here, it's what we think. There's a team who have got everything on the line and are sharp and are biting into tackles and are desperate to get the goal against a team who have nothing to play for, who have come out and just freewheeling a little bit. They're not really going into any hefty challenges. They're just playing some nice open football. So there's no doubt County have the edge and have more to play for, but neither team have really looked like grabbing that opening goal yet.
It's goalless, Liam, after 21 minutes here.
Same in Kilmarnock, same here, and that's a loose one by McPake, crossing into the box, too high for everyone, and it sails behind for a goal kick. I was just having a look back, Alan, at the starting 11 for St Johnstone against Aberdeen here on the opening weekend of the season. That was played on the Monday night. Sidibe's the only one starting today who started that one.
Yeah, it's a big turnaround in players as well. You know, and that's the thing, that what we're seeing here is what they're going to have next season. They may sell one. I think Mackenzie Curtis club's looking at him. They may get some money for him in. But as it sits, this is going to be the squad that will take them into the championship.
Kirk chasing what looks like a lost cause, and it was, because Robertson gets there first. It goes back to Carson, who hits it first time with the right foot out to the far side, helped on its way with a head of Tiffany. And it breaks back for St Johnstone with Valodis. Holt's giving it away to Cameron. Cameron's got Tiffany rampaging down the left-hand side, doesn't spot him, plays it infield to Portales. Central area, turns away from Holt and uses the right foot to turn it out to the left. And it's rolled up the touchline there for Tiffany. Tiffany at the left angle of the box, good skill, gets into the area, it's going to break to Murray. Tiffany goes down the box, Murray shoots, it's blocked. They're appealing loudly for a penalty here, Dundee. As McPake does some defending on the byline. I think Alan's shaking his head, doesn't think so.
No, I don't think so.
But it was, I tell you, it was one of those where Tiffany's dancing into the box, and you saw a couple of legs there from St Johnstone defenders getting in the way as it's pulled back from the right there by Palmer Holding, and St Johnstone clear out for a throw-in. The Dundee fans also think that was a penalty.
It will be checked, but I think this will be a quick check, I would imagine.
Well, it'll be a Dundee throw-in. VAR's Greg Aitken. It looks as though that penalty appeal has survived the check, so St Johnstone and Ross County will both be happy with that. Will be a throw-in to be taken by Astley. Balls it into the Saints box, helped towards the penalty spot, and eventually Holt's there to get it clear. Bouncing ball, Mulligan's header's not great, straight to Sidibe. His touch isn't great either, goes straight to Astley. It's clipped towards the St Johnstone 18-yard line. It's nodded out to this left-hand side where Taylor Stephen will smash it clear up the pitch, and it's picked up by Lyle Cameron, who is unchallenged here as he, at walking pace, surveys the pitch ahead of him and rolls it to the right.
A bit more of the ball now, Dundee. They're coming into the game a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a good 5-minute period for them. We're on 24-0 as it is in Dingwall. That ball from Clark Robertson's fired out to that left-hand side. Now Tiffany's going to go at Franchak. Can he get the better of him, driving down the far side? Franchak wins the tackle, but he's put it behind the corner for Dundee, who have taken things up a notch just in this last little period.
Yeah, Franchak, he can run. Very quick young lad, been out at Brecon. Been a problem position for St Johnstone, that right back area, most of the season.
Yeah, he's Polish, but he moved to Perth as a child and eager to take his opportunity. It's an 11th appearance of the season for him. However, he's given away a corner which Cameron will take for Dundee. Into the 6-yard box it comes. It's headed half away. Portales from the edge of the box, and he drags it with the left foot well wide. And perhaps, in fact, it was Larkesh who got the ball at the edge of the area, and he's put it well past the right-hand post, and it stays 0-0.
St Johnstone have just dropped off a little bit. You can see them, they're a very good start, first 10 minutes, they were all over them. Sidibe causing concern, McPake the left as well. But they've just stepped off the pace a little bit.
And Sidibe is back into shot. We see two Dundee players all over him. Portales is the other one, and then Mulligan joins in, and Sidibe's done well as he manages to turn it back into his own half here for Stephen. Short left-footed ball back to Holt, and then he ushers it out to the right, and then another loose one. Dundee win it back there through Larkesh, and now it's with Robertson who pushes it forward to Portales, who dinks it out wide left for Cameron. Cameron then, he's got an overlapping run if he wishes to use it. Larkesh, but he's actually found Murray left-hand side of the box. Low ball in towards the penalty spot, and in the right place there was Sprangler to help get it away for St Johnstone, who'll win a free kick in the midfield here, right of the centre circle, and the card's out. That's for Clark Robertson of Dundee. It is Saints 0, Dundee 0. Goalless Kilmarnock Hearts. Rob McLean and John Robertson are watching Ross County Motherwell.
Yeah, and we've just seen Zach Ashworth get a free kick out on the right-hand side of the pitch, takes it left-footed, of course, and just as everybody was looking for him to play the ball into the box to some pretty big customers that Ross County can throw at these set pieces, he just tried to whip it in and catch out Ellery Balcom, but the goalkeeper kind of saw it coming, and it was right down his throat in the end, John.
It's actually a waste, because you're right there, Rob. You look at the height that Ross County have. Their entire back five there, they're all huge, and you've got Noah Kenna as well, who's a big lad, and it's far too far out to cause a problem with a direct shot. But he's tried it, and it's a comfortable take for Balcom, but the game's just a little bit like Perth. It's just dipped a little bit here. County need to keep the energy up, because Motherwell are slowly but surely coming back into the game.
So goalless across the board. They'll throw it to Dundee over on the left, pulled back to Robertson, and sweeps it back to Carson, and looks up at the pitch ahead of him and launches it forward with the right foot. Murray beaten to it by Balodis. His header goes straight to his opposite number 4, Astley. Now it comes forward, and Murray's done well to get the touch onto it to find Cameron, left-hand side of the box. Lyle Cameron shoots and scores! Now that could be a brilliant parting gift from Lyle Cameron for Dundee, and a goal which affects Ross County as well, because it could be the Cameron strike there, and it's an outstanding one across the bows of the goalkeeper into the bottom right corner that keeps Dundee in the top flight for next season. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1.
That's a brilliant strike, great play. It's actually Simon Murray gets a nick on it and plays it out to Cameron. He's on his left side, he cuts back onto his right. and then bends it into that far corner, giving the keeper Sinclair absolutely no chance. Wonderful finish. Really, really good play by Dundee. Great goal.
Liam, you can
13th
just,
of the season for
you can
Cameron,
just see
Rob.
and feel and hear that news filtering around the ground in Dingwall. The fact that Dundee have gone in front, it makes it a really tall order. Ross County have to keep on believing, of course. They have to take care of their business. They have to get this game won if they can do it, and they've just got to hope that St Johnstone can turn things around.
Well, he'd a go earlier, Alan, didn't he? Cameron from distance, which went over the, well, just went past, didn't he? The left-hand side of the post, and Dundee would have loved to have kept Lyle Cameron for next season. He's got his move to Rangers. He signed that pre-contract in the winter time.
Ronan Hale responds for Ross County and Dingwall. Played in by Akio Wright, and he's absolutely exploded a shot into the roof of Ellery Balcom's goal, and Dundee may have gone in front, and it's advantage to Tony Docherty's team to steer clear of second bottom, but that is some response immediately in Dingwall from Ross County.
Certainly is, and it's similar to his goal against Hearts a few weeks ago. Fetty this time's come through and he's rolled it inside to him. He's took a touch, and where he went low and hard, he could have gone right. He's gone the opposite this time. He smashed it into the top left-hand corner, into the roof of net. It's a huge goal for Ross County, but as I say, it's all down to what happens in Dundee. They now need a St Johnstone equaliser, but it certainly lifted the spirits, because there's no doubt the crowd had gone quiet when they heard the news from Perth.
Well, there might have been controversy surrounding his goal in the midweek. There's no doubt about that one. Right on the half hour in Dingwall, Ross County 1, Motherwell 0.
A 16th goal of the season for Ronan Hale. And a good signing, but his predecessor Murray's just won it back, and he shoots from distance. The goalkeeper, in orthodox fashion, uses his right boot to put it behind for the corner. Murray went for glory from about level with the edge of the centre circle, and he's perhaps now, although he's won his team a corner, regretting not running into the acres that seem to be ahead of him there.
Then had Lyle Cameron to his left-hand side, who's given him a mouthful of verbal abuse because of that, but the keeper didn't know where he was. The goalie was in his box at the time. He should have just stopped it with his hands. He elects to try and lift his right foot to it. It seems to hit his thigh and go out for a corner. The goalie was all over the place there.
He must have completely lost his bearings. Thought he was outside the area and couldn't use his hand. Dundee corner, how crucial will that be? The two sides threatened with a relegation playoff, both ahead here on Sports Sound this Sunday afternoon on BBC Radio Scotland, and it's Cameron with the corner, and it comes, and it's a flicked header away by Balodis out to this near side. There will be another corner for Dundee as they look for an insurance policy and a second goal, which would take all the pressure away, particularly given Ross County have just made the breakthrough against Motherwell and Dingwall up the A9 from here. Cameron trots over to this side to take this corner. The Saints have everyone back to defend it behind the ball, and Josh McPate's come out to this near side to try and mark Tiffany, who's a short corner option, but it's coming into the box. Outswinger from Cameron, flicked half away to the 18-yard line. It's going to break back here for Lakesh, whose effort is blocked. It was an important block as well there by Taylor Stephen. Big switch towards Cameron, but it's controlled on the chest by McPate. He then clears, but it's gone straight to Lakesh, gets it high into the St Johnstone box, where it breaks to Victor Griffith, who gets it clear, and it comes all the way through to Trevor Carson. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1, Ross County 1, Motherwell 0, and it's goalless between Kilmarnock and Hearts, who will, I'm sure, be delighted, Killy perhaps in particular, that they don't have a horse running in this race away from the bottom. It is Balodis picking it up and moving up to the halfway line, right of the centre circle, rolls it out to Franchak on the right. St Johnstone looking to respond here. Infield to Holt, who's going to get it back immediately. It's good play. He managed to work it forward there to Duke McKenna. It's the cross in. It's an easy one away for Robertson though. Back it'll come at the Dundee box. Bertales gets a header away. Franchak heads it towards the 18-yard line where Shaughnessy clears. Now it's with Mulligan. in the midfield, in the centre circle. Murray makes his run ahead of him. Mulligan taking it out to this near side. And he turns back infield and rolls it to the goal scorer, Cameron. And then to Mulligan. Mulligan's ball is behind Murray, and that allows Balodes to clear. Jude McKenna was waiting for the ball to reach him, and Larkesh got it away, but it's going to break back to Jude McKenna. Gets it forward to Adama Sidibe, driving down the right, tried the early ball, but he doesn't get it past the first man, who was Robertson. And it's Dundee who pick up here, and it's Portales rolling it wide left for Larkesh. Gets it forward to Cameron. Tiffany on the touchline. Murray and Palmer Holden waiting in the box. It's over now with Tiffany. Tiffany at the left angle of the box, gets it back to Cameron. Cameron into the area he goes, looks to get the ball across, cut out by Franchak. Another Dundee corner, no doubting who the better side is right now. It's the visitors who have that precious 1-0 lead as we approach the final 10 minutes of the first half.
And Lyle Cameron's running the show now. Not only has he scored a brilliant goal, wonderful strike, but he's now beginning to get on the ball, starting to dictate play for Dundee.
In swinging corner for Cameron.
Watch Palmer Holden right at the very back post there. There's no one near him.
Yeah, right, the right hand side of the box, and it comes in. He, I think, was the target, but the goalkeeper clutches on under his crossbar as it made its way towards Palmer Holden at the back post. It's in Sinclair's gloves. And he bowls it low to Jason Holt, who's suffered back-to-back automatic relegations, having been part of the Livingston side that went down 12 months ago. It's picked up here by St Johnstone with Sprangler. He gets it out to McPake on the near side touchline. He'll turn away from Mulligan. It's good skill, brought himself some space. Moves it to the right of the centre circle for Holt, who side foots it out to that right hand side for Franchak. Back it comes to Griffith. Low ball forward, he's given it to Kirk, but it's a first time pass which comes all the way back into the centre circle for Balodes. Now Griffith out Sprangler, and then onto the touchline for McPake. Remember, realistically, Ross County, who do lead Motherwell 1-0, need St Johnstone to score twice without reply to stay out of 11th today. Huge odds against County, finding themselves in 10th spot by the close of business today. It's McPake gets himself away from Ashley. Of course, a St Johnstone equaliser would help them. Two players go down, one from each side. The referee doesn't
Here's
give a
Ronan
free
Hill
kick.
again, shot blocked, and Muller will scramble it clear again. It was Ifete doing the damage down the right side. His cut back, finding County's number 9. He's the major danger man. There was never any doubt about that. Foiled that time, but he does have his 16th goal of the season, and it's the one that keeps up hope in Dingwall.
It's a win and a piece and a draw between the two we're watching here in Perth this term. Saints won the first one at Dens, goals from Carey and Clark, seeing them come from a Murray goal down to win 2-1. The away team came out on top again at the start of January. Dundee winning 3-1 here. And Dundee have got themselves another corner. And that comes bouncing off the head of Taylor Stephen. And right now, unfortunately from a Ross County point of view, Alan, the next goal in this game, if there is to be one, looks like it'll be a Dundee goal.
Yeah, Dundee are piling on the pressure. It's that set up again, the corner. It's going to be out swinging this time from Cameron. Once again, Palmer Holden takes himself right out the play at the back post.
There's no St Johnstone players near him, in it comes, he's the target again, punched away by Sinclair. It breaks to the edge of the box where Larkesh tosses it back into the area. St Johnstone clear their lines. Comes back at them here.
Yeah, meantime, Liam, we've got a free kick here. It's about 30 yards out for Ross County, right in front of goal. Ronan Hale is over it. Zach Ashworth is there as well. Will it be right foot? Will it be left foot? Can Ross County get themselves a second goal? It's Ronan Hale, and he tries to bend it round the wall, and it bounces just wide of target. It stays at 1-0 here.
And it is St Johnstone on the ball, driving down the right is Franchak, up against Larkesh, checks back, then back onto his right. The right angle of the box, in comes the cross. Sidibe helps it out towards this side of the box. St Johnstone play on, Dundee feel the defender was impeded there, and Jude McKenna couldn't get it under control. on the far side as Dundee try and come away with it. St Johnstone win it back very quickly, and Jude McKenna's done really well there, but then he overcooks it. Looked like a foul, but again Stephen McLean's not interested. Picked up by Mackenzie Kirk on the right. Jude McKenna controls with the undersole, gets his cross in, and Shaughnessy will dink it away to safety and out for a throw. And you can hear the Dundee supporters who think they should have had at least one free kick in that previous phase of play. There has been a red card at Rugby Park. We're going to go to Stephen Craigan in a moment, but it's St Johnstone still attacking here as Holt switches it out to the left for Sprangler. Down the line for McPake. Sprangler goes down. McPake driving in field. He's away from Astley. Into the box he goes. Pulls it back to Sidibe. Wanted too long. It's still inside the Dundee box though. Portales heads half away. Palmer Holden knocking it back, and Astley clears his lines. St Johnstone have a man down, and it's Sven Sprangler, and the referee's going to stop play. Let's get to Rugby Park. News of that red card with Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, Liam, it's really odd in fact, because Hearts were on the attack and Jan Danda broke through. It looked as if there was a coming together between himself and Stuart Findlay. Then it was announced with a potential red card. Everyone thought it was going to be for Stuart Findlay, but apparently Stuart Findlay has won the ball, and Jan Danda's studs have followed onto the calf of Stuart Findlay. So it's Jan Danda who's been sent off. It's Hearts down to 10 players, and now all the momentum should be with Kilmarnock, but it is still 0-0 here.
Well, I was talking to Alan earlier that the last time Hearts were there, Killie had Robbie Dees sent off, yet went on to win anyway, 1-0 thanks to a Bruce Anderson goal. But Jan Danda ordered off. I did wonder if that was Kilmarnock's 9th red card of the season, the way Stephen was talking there. They've had more red cards than anyone in the division, but it is Hearts who are down to 10 men, and it stays 0-0. But here, still attention being given to Sven Sprangler. Rob, so well, there's a big stoppage here. Why don't you tell us what's going on up the road from here?
Ross County on the attack with Mickey Effete. Down the right-hand side, Akil Wright offers him wider still, but the ball is shifted into the middle instead for Kenna. Ross County looking to extend their advantage if they can. It's been a lively performance from them. It's been an impressive performance against maybe lackluster Motherwell, a much changed Motherwell, a Motherwell team with not too much to be playing for. Ashworth, left-hand side, looks to switch it across back towards Effete, and Motherwell managed to deal with that little county flurry, but Josh Nisbet, the tiny Australian, wins it back, and now it's Akil Wright powering to the byline, his cut back. Ronan Hale takes a touch, tries to get the shot away, and it's deflected behind John for a corner.
Yeah, Hale and Samuel are causing all sorts of problems. Samuel been really busy and pinning the Motherwell centre backs, and Hale's been really lively. He's had shots blocked, free kicks. It's got the all-important goal, but Motherwell, look, they haven't even got out of first gear. They just, you're right, lacklustre is good a phrase as any to them. They're just playing away. There's no real edge to their game, but there is. You can see that edge to County's game, and that's what's got them ahead. And well, if you want to look at the notes, there's about 6-7 efforts from County, 1 from Andy Halliday, which was pretty tame in the end, but County certainly have that edge that they needed, but they need some help down in Perth.
Zach Ashworth's corner kick in towards the back post, and it was half a chance for Akil Wright coming into that back post area and just looping a header up and over the crossbar. Ross County can do nothing other than try to get this job done. They'd like to get a second goal. They'd like to feel safe about getting all 3 points. But right now, of course, Liam, they are heading for the relegation playoffs.
Yeah, they are, and if that is where they end up going, then Don Cowie will want them to at least win the match and go into that playoff final against Livingston with a little bit of momentum. The first leg of that playoff final, incidentally, is on Thursday, live here on Sports Sound, and highlights on the telly too. The second leg in Dingwall or Dundee is a week tomorrow, the Monday evening. Inside to play for a throw-in for Dundee, up the pitch again here, about level with the penalty spot. Sprangler is back on, having received treatment. He was down for a couple of minutes there. And it will be a throw for Dundee, which will be taken by Astley. We're on 43 minutes now, 43. And there'll be a couple of minutes added on at the end of that because of the injury to Sprangler, as Astley prepares to take another long throw-in into the St Johnstone box on this near side. The big Dundee number 4. Into the box it comes, helped half away by Griffith. And then an effort from Portales' block. Looked like it was going on target there. Mulligan picks up the scraps ahead of Sidibe, midway inside Saints territory, and gets it back to Cameron, who winds one up. Big switch out to that left-hand side. It's going to break to Tiffany, misjudged by Franjak. He's trying to redeem the situation. He's done well in the end. He's won his side a goal kick off Tiffany. So there's a goal kick, and it's Saints 0, Dundee 1, Ross County 1, Motherwell 0.
Just a little chance here for Luke Armstrong of Motherwell. He scored a couple of goals Wednesday night against Kilmarnock in the 3-0 win. They managed to work the ball into his feet, back to goal. He tried to wheel and stab it towards goal. It went wide of target. Were Motherwell to score, that would be the bubble seriously burst.
Yeah, it would, but they've not really looked like it, if I've been honest. That's only their second foray into the Ross County area to put any kind of pressure on them. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, that County are more likely to get the second goal, especially with how busy Hale and Samuel are up front. But you never know. You know, if Motherwell do get the goal, you're right, it would really put a damper on things, given the news coming down the A9 from Perth.
We're just over a minute shy of 45. Liam, Ross County 1, Motherwell 0.
Well, the one thing that County supporters can hang on to is that Dundee don't keep many clean sheets, and they've lost a heck of a lot of late goals in matches. So see just how keen Dundee are to get that second and try and put this to bed as soon as possible. Shaughnessy and Sidibe challenge, and Sidibe's come off the worst there, and he's ended up poleaxed on the ground. I mean, I'm not sure, Alan. I think it was both players looking at the ball, going for it. Shaughnessy was the Dundee player, and Sidibe's ended up flat out on the deck.
Yeah, the two managers are not there having a go at each other as well, but
3 minutes added, we're into the first.
We can obviously see Livingston's assistant manager Brian Rice. He said, just wondering if Davy Martindale's up in Dingwall.
Yeah, well, that would make sense, I suppose. And I just wonder who they'd rather face in the playoff final, Dundee or Ross County.
Well, County are the playoff specialists the last few years, but I think Dundee have got more about them. I really do. Simon Murray especially, Lyle Cameron, as we've seen. So I would you need to ask David Martindale that, but I would imagine it would be Ross County they would fancy playing.
Alan, no unconfirmed sightings of Davy Martindale in Dingwall.
well, John knows Brian Rice is at every game.
There's more than one Brian Rice, I'm convinced of it. Yeah, Ross County. I mean, I still haven't got over that second leg against Partick Thistle 2 years ago, when they were 2-0 down. I think you really went up
a few octaves in that one, Liam.
Oh, incredible! Yeah, well, it was full falsetto that day, I think.
Yeah.
But they were 2-0 down going into the second leg, and then it went 3-0 on aggregate. Somehow they turned it round after extra time and then into penalties. An amazing game.
Incredible. We're in the 1 minute being added on in Dingwall, so I would imagine when Ellery Balcombe hammers this goal kick up the pitch, Don Robertson will be blowing his whistle for half-time. I knew it was a dangerous prediction to make. The game goes on, but not much longer, and Ross County will take that 1-0 advantage into the second half and hope that St Johnstone can do them a favour.
Well, Dundee are pressing for a second before the break here at McDermott. It's a long flighted ball, misjudged by Franchak again, and Tiffany picks up left-hand side of the box, trying to spin away from Franchak, as I think the half-time whistle goes in Dingwall.
Yeah, that is half-time here, so Ronan Hale's goal is the only one. Ross County doing at the moment what they have to do, but of course it was always going to hinge on what happens with you at McDermott Park.
Yeah, where it's 1-0 to Dundee, who are sparing themselves. Lyle Cameron with the goal, and we are in deep into the 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. There might be a little bit on top of that because there was another incident the referee had to talk to a couple of players about as Saints pick up on the far side. Kirk rolling it infield to Duke McKenna. It's away from Tiffany, right hand side of the centre circle. It's a big switch out to this left hand side for McPake. One last chance perhaps for Sainties here at the end of the first half. McPake gets some space, his ball in's poor though, and it's easily blocked by Palmer Holden at the angle of the box, and out for a St Johnstone throw-in here level with the Dundee penalty spot.
He gets into some really good areas, McPake, but you're right there, it's his final cross, his final ball. He needs to work on that because he's got all the attributes, very, very quick. dip of the shoulder, quick feet, just his delivery's been poor.
Long thrown into the box here from Taylor Stephen. Shaughnessy heads it up high up towards the 18-yard line. Breaks to the edge of the box for Duke McKenna. He's found Sidibe, lashes and slashes at it, and it goes high into the stand, into the Dundee supporters, and that will probably be that for the first half here. But actually, it's a chance. If he gets that on target, then there's every chance.
Yeah, it was a chance for him, you know, but St Johnstone have to do better. They want to try and sign off. It's not been a great season, as we all know, for them, but try and sign off with a bit of style. At least give the home supporters something to go home and say, right, you know what, I'm going to go back. I'm going to back you in the Championship. Going to keep going to watch St Johnstone, because at the moment, Dundee, you can only see them getting a second goal.
Well, playing on for now as McPake gets it through towards Sidibe. Decided against chasing after it. You kind of felt Kirk was the better option there, and it's Robertson who comes across and knocks it out for a throw-in. And there's a second ball on the pitch here. It's the one that Sidibe launched into the stand. The Dundee fans threw it back in, and the linesman, somebody come over to knock it behind the byline. And Saints looking for just this last opportunity perhaps here, because play is continuing. And I think Stephen McLean has a little look at his watch. There might not be time for St Johnstone to get it into the penalty area here. Forward it comes from Stephen, and Stephen McLean blows the half-time whistle, and so far so good for Dundee. Lyle Cameron potentially playing his last game for the club this afternoon. If they avoid the playoffs, he will be ahead of a summer move to Rangers. Has scored a terrific goal, left-hand side of the box, finding the bottom right corner of the net. That coming just before Ronan Hale put Ross County ahead. If County got the first goal, you never know what that might have done to Dundee. However, Cameron struck, and he's in a couple of attempts. In Johnstone started the game well. The opening 10 minutes probably belonged to them, but Dundee have been mostly in control since that point, and particularly after Cameron gave them the lead. As things stand, Dundee are safe and will be playing Premiership football next season. Half-time in the Fair City. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
Welcome to today's quiz. Here's the question.
We're asking, what do you want the future of the BBC to look like?
And the good news is, there's no wrong answer.
We want to know what you think, because the BBC belongs to all of us. To have your say, look for an email or visit bbc.co.uk/ourbc Our Future.
This is Sports Time with me, Richard Gordon. Earlier we brought you live commentary from the title decider in SWPL. Hibernian with a win at Rangers to secure an astonishing victory in terms of the overall league championship. No one was anticipating they would win the title at the start of the season, and they have done so. They take the title, and Glasgow City, with their victory today, 2-0 against Hearts, move up into second place. So those two will be vying for places in the Champions League. Both Rangers and indeed Celtic miss out. Celtic finishing their campaign with a 6-0 win against Motherwell. Rangers 0, Hibernian 1, and Glasgow City 2, Hearts 0. In the bottom tier, there was just one thing up for grabs, and Montrose were hoping to beat Dundee United and that Spartans would lose so that they could retain their place in the restructured top flight for next season. Well, they've done their bit. They've 4-0 winners against Dundee United into stoppage time. It is Spartans 1, Partick Thistle 2. So Montrose, as things stand, going to leapfrog Spartans on the final afternoon to claim that one remaining spot in the top 10. Aberdeen rounded off their campaign with a 3-0 win against Queen's Park. But Spartans desperately need a goal. If they do get the draw, they stay up and Montrose go down. So we'll keep an eye on that. Half-times in the Premiership: St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1, Ross County 1, Motherwell 0, and Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 0. Let's start there with Stephen Craigan.
Yeah, indeed, Richard, and I think the game is everything we thought it may be. A low-key, low-intensity game, no one taking any risks, a lot of football being played in front of the opposition with no real purpose or penetration. David Watson did have a shot blocked after a couple of minutes. Good play in the right-hand side by Brad Lands. It was blocked, I think, by Frankie Kent in the end. Stephen Kingsley, a few minutes later, stepped in to the game from defence. He drove forward and had a shot that just fizzed over the crossbar of Robbie McCrory, but there was nothing really else happening. But then Xander Clark, who actually had his first start for Hearts since the 10th of August in that 3-1 defeat up at Dens Park, he went down injured for some reason, no one anywhere near him, so something must have happened during the play. He had to go off and was replaced by Ryan Fulton. But the big talking point came after 37 minutes. Jan Danda picked the ball up. He drove at the heart of the Kilmarnock defence. He went through. The referee gave a free kick. I think he gave the free kick for Hearts. There was an announcement over the tannoy. There was a VAR check for a potential red card. So everyone imagined, myself included, that Stuart Findlay could potentially be sent off for the second time this season. Referee Dan McFarlane goes to the monitor, has a look, comes back and sends off Jan Danda. I think Stuart Findlay had made contact with the ball and Danda's studs had followed onto the calf of Findlay, so he thought that was serious foul play, hence the reason why a red card was given. And just right on half-time with that extra player, Brad Lyons almost give Kilmarnock the lead. He broke into that right-hand channel. He spent it right back this afternoon as opposed to midfield. He cut inside from the corner of the box and he whistled a shot just past the right-hand post of Ryan Fulton. Many in the main stand thought it was going to nestle in the back of the net. It didn't. It went past and ended up in the stand behind the goal. So neither goalkeeper really has had a save to make, and that probably sums up the game. So half-time, it's Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 0, and both are lucky to have 0.
Stephen, thank you very much indeed. Final game of the campaign for both those sides, and as things stand, looks like it's petering out towards a goalless draw. We know, of course, that there are goals in the two other matches, and they could, in particular, the one in McDermott Park, could be very important indeed. The goals came within seconds of each other. County going in front against Motherwell, but by that stage Dundee had already taken the leads, and a real nerve settler, I suppose, Alan, and a bit of quality from Lyle Cameron.
Yeah, Richard, Dundee started looking very nervous to start with. St Johnstone came out the traps. Sidibe was causing a bit of concern. Lovely run he had until it was a fine tackle by Larkesh. And you thought, you know what, St Johnstone are going to go for it. But then Dundee slowly but surely played their way into it. And then Cameron had a sighter about 2 or 3 minutes before his goal, knocked it just wide of the target. And then his goal was a thing of beauty. Really nice finish from him. Simon Murray plays it out to him. He cuts inside from the left-hand side and lets fly with his right foot into the far-away corner. And then from then on, it's really been all Dundee. You know, they've been the better side. They've forced about 4 or 5 corners with a couple of half chances. St Johnstone need to do more in the second half. You know, yes, they're down, but they don't want to. They want to try and take Dundee with them. There is no love lost between these two clubs. No. So they want to try and do their best in the second half. I think there will be changes. I think you'll see that. Like say Ekpiezu, and they'll maybe bring a bit more physical presence on for St Johnstone, and they'll maybe see with Valakari nothing to lose. He'll throw men on as he always does anyway. As far as Tony's concerned, he must be happy. As I said, after the initial 10 minutes, Dundee have dominated the game, been the better side, looked the more threatening when they've gone forward, and they've always got the guy Simon Murray who just never stops running. Lyle Cameron, a touch of class. Mulligan as well in the middle of the park, really good. And at the back, Shaughnessy is mopping everything up. He's played very, very well, because Sidibe's a handful. You know, Sidibe's quick, very, very strong, good in the air for a little guy. But Shaughnessy's handled them very, very well. So Dundee are good value for their 1-0 lead at the moment, Richard. 13th
goal of the season for Lyle Cameron. It's a 16th goal of the season for Ronan Hale that separates the sides in Dingwall. And by the sound of things, John Robertson, County worthy of that advantage?
Absolutely, Richard, there's no doubt about it. You know, early as the 3rd minute, Hale was put through and it took a tremendous block from Kudrubis to stop him, and then they had another opportunity at the back post that Rob described from the corner, where it kind of hit Aki Wright's shoulder, but Balcom had to save it. If Etty had a shot, well saved, and in all that time, it took Motherwell 27 minutes to have their first sighter. Andy Hardy from 30 yards curled one, easy save for a miss, and then it was Ronan Hale, a magnificent goal, brilliant goal. You'll see on the Sports Scene highlights tonight. He got the ball in the inside right position, took a touch and rifled it near post, roof of the net, past Balcom and goal. He had absolutely no chance. And then just a couple of minutes later, Hale had a shot deflected just wide as they went for the second in. The same guy again come back with a free kick from 30 yards just past, and then we had an Aki Wright header just past the post it went, and it wasn't until injury time Armstrong poked one wide, and then Kurambis come forward, had a great strike, took a wicked deflection, and it went wide. Right, that was it for Motherwell. Just kind of, it's like an end of season game. They're just playing away and they just want the final whistle to go. It would seem County have definitely had that edge that they needed. You know, they're snapping at the tackles, they're a wee bit sharper over the park. You'd have no doubt whatsoever if you wandered in and was told which team's fighting for their life and which team are safe. You can see it in spades that it's County who've got something to play for. But as we said at the start of the programme, it's out of their hands. It's all what happens. The 110 miles down the road here in Perth, and at the moment it's not looking good for them.
We'll be right across both games in the second half. Highlights on Sports Scene tonight, 7:15 BBC Scotland Channel. I mentioned the wonderful success for Hibernian lifting the SWPL title this afternoon with that 1-0 win against Rangers. Let's hear reaction from the head coach Grant Scott and from the striker Kathleen McGovern.
So it's congratulations to Hibernian, and let's sum up what this means. First league title for Hibs in 18 years.
A bit lost for words, to be honest with you. This group is special. You've seen it all season. I think the consistency throughout the group has been phenomenal all season, and it was good just to grind that result out. And you could see the panic a wee bit at the end of the game, but I think that bodies on the line, people that come off the bench, and that just shows why we're league winners, to be honest.
You mentioned the word consistency. You had that, didn't you, in bucket loads this season? While two other clubs were kind of slipping up, Hibs just kept on going.
Yeah, we just didn't look too far ahead. We just took one game at a time, and I know it's cliche to say, but we actually did. And just did our talking indoors. I think a lot of people outside had us wrote off by January, to be honest with you, but we just knew what group we had, and we kept working hard each day in training, and you can see that in the performances.
Did that help, the fact that people were writing you off?
Yeah, we had fire in the belly today. You can see that as well. We fought for each other, and we've had that all season, to be honest. Being the underdogs, it's just been great to be a part of.
Right, let's talk us through the winning goal, because your desire to keep that ball in and then to float in a lovely ball across for your teammate Lindsay here. Talk us through what was going through your mind. Sheer determination, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's not often I find myself in the wide position. I think that today I had to do a lot of channel work. It's not really my game, but I would do anything for the team, and her desire to go for centre back to get herself in the box, like what was she even doing there? But I just thought keep the ball in. Obviously it fell on my left foot. I didn't know how good a contact I could get with the left foot, and I saw Ailey and Lindsay and Ailey both in the box. I just thought put it in an area, and the finish was a striker's finish, to be honest.
Well, let's talk to the Hibs manager, winning league manager. Grant, I walked past you at full time there, and you just looked at me and you said, wow, what an amazing story, an amazing feat. Congratulations. How do you sum it up?
Honestly, with great difficulty. I think the group of players we've pushed them to the absolute limit. There's some broken bodies out there, and some in the dugout in the stands. Look, I think for us in this kind of modern era, Scottish women's football, that's a massive achievement. But we'll digest it. We've got a lot of work to do now for the new season, and I'm going to demand that these girls look for more. I think it's just the start for us, hopefully.
Talk us through the season as a whole, because you were holding your own. I've spoken to a couple of your players there who kind of felt that people were expecting you to kind of slip up along the way. That never came, of course, but did that kind of spur you on a little bit?
I think it did at points. There was certainly a point, I think, before December where we felt we'd let ourselves down in a couple of games, and we kind of felt the external world was almost waiting for us to trip. And then I think a lot of the players talk about going away to Rangers at Broadwood the back end of December and having a great performance, great result as a kind of turning point. Personally, I didn't feel it, but I thought what it did was made everyone outside of us as a group take notice a little bit. But then we had to back it up in January when we played Glasgow City and then Celtic, and the players did that. And that for me compounded what I thought we could be. But there's no easy games in that post-split, and I think our record's good. And the players thoroughly deserve their spot at the top now.
Grant Scott. We heard also from Kathleen McGovern. What a wonderful afternoon for Hibernian. They are the champions of the SWPL. We're just waiting, of course, for the relegation issue to be resolved. It has been. And Montrose with their win. Spartans losing. Spartans are relegated. Montrose stay in the top flight for next season. It is, wow. What a turnaround. What a dramatic conclusion. Right, they are up and running in Dingwall. They'll be getting up and running shortly at the game at McDermott Park as well. And of course, we'll keep you right across Kilmarnock against Hearts. It's goalless there. It's 1-0 County. It's 1-0 Dundee as we head back to Liam McLeod.
Well, Liam's just about to come back on. Richard, he was just away getting a cup of tea, so that's him now back on the mic.
Honestly, part-time commentators, Alan. Thank goodness we can rely on you. You're always there.
I am here. I don't know what's the panic. What is the panic? Yeah,
I mean, I'll give Liam a couple of seconds to get his cup of tea sorted if the players aren't back here, and we can head up to Rob McLean in Dingwall. You are up and running, Rob.
Yeah, and I am working on a full-time basis as well. No breaks at all here as Motherwell made a couple of changes. They made 5 at kick-off, and they've made another couple during interval with Dom Thompson and Tom Sparrow being introduced for them. Ewan Wilson and Will Dixon are the 2 players to have gone off. But Ross County continuing to set out in search of a second goal, and that was some hit from Noan Kenna here from the heart of the midfield. It just opened up for him, and he powered in a right footer from about 30 yards, and John Robertson, it was only a couple of feet too high.
Yeah, it's a good strike, a chance for both teams there. Obviously, the aforementioned Tom Sparrow going down the right hand side, and a shot that was straight at Avisa, comfortable save, but County immediately broke up the other end and a shot over. A little bit more intent from Motherwell. I know they've nothing to play for, but I'm sure David Wimmer will be very, very disappointed with that showing in the first half. And he'll want them to again show a little bit more, try and finish the season well, and give the 200 or 300 Motherwell fans that have come up the United something to cheer about, because as I say, that first half was pretty lame to say the least, but it's a lively start.
Yeah, Don Cowie will be pleased with the intensity that his team is showing. Here's Efete squeezing another ball in from the right hand side. He's been really impressive in that right wing back position. He's made plenty happen for Ross County. It's a brilliant goal, the only goal in the game so far from Ronan Hale, which you'll see in Sports Scene later. It's a wonderful strike, his 16th goal of the season. And what will please Don Cowie, even though at the moment he'll know exactly what's happening in Perth and that the odds are still stacked against his team, but Ross County are lumbering up pretty impressively here today for what looks like those playoff final games against Livingston next week. Hale receiving the ball from the throw-in out on the left-hand side. Alex Samuel, those two have been really lively up top for Ross County. And Nisbet on the ball now, busy in the midfield. Conor Randall finding a little pocket of space and working it left for Ashworth to drive it in low at the near post. Kutrumbas turns it behind for a corner kick, and Ross County continue to show all the urgency in this game.
Yeah, we've said it right from the start, Rob. They've got the edge. It's plain to see. They're fighting for their lives, and they're going to hope that there's a turnaround in Perth, is what they'll be expecting or hoping for. But they've still got to do the business here, and they're going about it in the right manner.
Corner kick for Ross County, left-hand side. The goal scorer, Ronan Hale, to take it. Curled in, and it's headed away by Armstrong, back helping out the defensive effort for Motherwell. Josh Nisbet onto it for County. Back to Randall, fires one in first time, and it's a glancing header from Alex Samuel, who's coming out and away from goal. It was going to take a minor miracle to hit the target there for him, but it was a pretty decent effort from County's number 25 that slips wide of goal. We're at 5.5 minutes into the second half. Still, Ronan Hale's goal is the only one. Ross County 1, Motherwell 0, and Dundee a goal up, of course, in Perth, Liam.
Yes, and we're just back underway here, and the yellow card's out already for Victor Griffith. Ross County then doing what they need to do. Dundee, though, likewise, and they are on the attack immediately at the start of the second half here. Duke McKenna's been replaced by the veteran Graham Carey for the start of the second half for the home side, and it will be a free kick here for Dundee to be taken. I thought it was going to be by Portales, but it's going to be an opportunity to get it in and around that St Johnstone penalty box. It's Mulligan who takes it short, low. Cameron, first time, loops it with the right foot towards the penalty spot, headed away by Balodes. Cameron then to Larkesh, heads it forward, blocked an 18-yard line by Holt. and picked up by Franchak, who plays it to Holt, and then he shifts it into the midfield there for Griffith, and then to his left it will be launched forward for Mackenzie Kirk to chase. Now he's got the pace up against Shaughnessy, he goes for goal, he hits the side net. Well, Sidibe isn't too impressed with that, but in Kirk's defence, Sidibe couldn't keep up with him, and although it's a tight angle, Mackenzie Kirk, who scored here on the opening day of the season actually against Aberdeen with a similar run from the other side of the box, was he entitled to go for goal himself there?
I think it's a difficult one. He's gone narrow side, Liam, and he's got to try and go across the goal if he can. Sidibe, you're right, is never getting up with him. You know, he would have had to check back, waited a bit of time, and then Sidibe coming in and they could roll it to him then, but he's gone for the shot, hit the side net, and half a chance, I would say, at best.
So Sinclair in goal for St Johnstone, Franchak, Balode, Sprangler and Stephen. It's now Holt, Griffith, McPake with Carey, Sidibe and Kirk. For Dundee, Carson in goal, Astley, Shaughnessy, Robertson, Lakesh, Mulligan, Portales, Cameron, Palmer, Holden and Tiffany with Murray. And it's Cameron's goal that is making all the difference this afternoon. The battle to avoid 11th place, which comes with so much trepidation, and nobody needs to tell Ross County that. Indeed, Dundee were in the playoffs themselves, albeit coming up from the Championship and relegating Kilmarnock a number of years ago. And Sidibe rolls it into the centre circle for Holt, and he moves it to the left, and it's going to be played there by Taylor Stephen out to McPake. Steps away from his man, now he's running along the 18-yard line, he shoots, it's deflected over the bar, and it's going to be a St Johnstone corner. Carey's already looking to get onto it, and it would have been interesting to see where that was going but for the deflection out.
Yeah, really good play by McPake yet again. But has the flag gone up? Something?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's no corner. Graham Carey's got his arms outstretched asking why not, but it's going to be a Dundee free kick instead by the looks of things. Must have been an offside in there somewhere. Carson's over. It's St Johnstone denied the opportunity. We know the quality of Graham Carey.
He's a scorer of brilliant goals.
Yes, he is.
Even at Tynecastle the other night, a wonderful free kick. I was at Livingston early on in the Scottish Cup, a brilliant goal from him. So every time you see the goals he scores, some collection he's got.
He can give you something from nothing, and that's perhaps what's tempted the manager to put him on instead of Duke McKenna, who's a Celtic alumni with Niall McGinn and Paul McGowan, former Dundee skipper. And it's going to be cleared here by Portales on the halfway line into the St Johnstone half. Chested back by Palmer Holden. The ref thinks he used an arm, so free kick St Johnstone. And the one thing that Ross County might hang on to, Alan, is the fact, and it's an incredible fact, that Dundee have only kept 2 clean sheets in the Premiership this season.
It's unbelievable, it really is. One of your guaranteed with Dundee is goals, for and against. So and Ross County will be hoping that that's the case, that they keep that record up of only 2, and St Johnstone can get back into this match, but at the moment it doesn't look like it. It's really comfortable just now for Dundee.
They managed a clean sheet against Motherwell in October and one more recently against Hearts at Tynecastle. Shaughnessy is put under pressure there and he's managed to deal with it. Carey was all over him, but here come Dundee. It's going to be slipped through here. Tiffany, big chance, Tiffany! Goal!
I thought he was offside.
Flag has gone up.
There we go, yeah.
Flag has gone up against Tiffany. He rolled it through the legs of the goalkeeper into the net. The Dundee supporters, some of them have ended up on the track, still think it counts. And the stewards are all trying to calm them down. The police arriving now too. But the assistant referee over on the far side, David Room, had the flag up as soon as the ball hit the net, as the VAR team headed up by Greg Aitken go over the replays.
Yeah, I thought he was offside initially, straight away. I thought Tiffany was the other side. It'd be a tight one, but I just felt that Tiffany had gone too early. Really good finish through the keeper's legs.
This is a massive moment, huge, and in Dingwall they'll be eagerly listening in to find out the decision here, and it's been confirmed as offside, so the goal does not stand. It stays. Saints 0, Dundee 1. The scoreboard's got Dundee 2-0 up.
flies it across goal for Motherwell, and Armstrong trying to get on the end of it, and the ball is tucked behind for a corner kick, but some relieved faces around the ground in Dingwall that scoreline is still only 1-0, and that where there's time in the game for St Johnstone to come back, then there's hope in Dingwall that might just happen, and it might just play into Ross County's hands. We're just going to stay with this one for the corner kick, left-hand side for Motherwell, because were they to score, then it could be curtains for County. It's in, out-swinging from Andy Halliday. County get it clear. Halliday tries again, back to O'Donnell, curling ball in from the captain, headed away by Nightingale, and Callum Slattery, who scored 5 goals in his last 8 games, wasn't going to be adding to his tally from outside the box, off balance, and it's not only going over the bar, just about over the top of the stand as well.
Yeah, not a great effort there. It's trouble for, I think, Motherwell. Kutrumvis has gone down. He's been bombing up and down that wing. He's got a bit of cramp, but well, showed a little bit more intent. They've made a few changes, and that's kind of given them a little bit more of an edge. But you still feel good. But it was deadly quiet there. They heard the shout, and then they heard there was a check. Deadly quiet, but it's lively again. There's still faint hope, but well, there's hope. There's a chance.
I didn't know there was a Dingwall branch of the St Johnstone Supporters Club, but there seems to be.
Yeah, 1-0 to Ross County there. The problem for County is they need St Johnstone to score twice because of the goal difference. So they need Dundee to lose this game. And at the moment, Dundee the better team. And they were very close to going 2-0 up there.
And again, Liam, we've seen it again when that goal was disallowed goes in. The exuberance of the fans coming onto the pitch again. We need tougher punishments in this country for people that come onto the field to play, because this is getting out of hand. What happened yesterday at Paradise was an absolute disgrace. It's only going to get worse.
Shocking scenes. And we wish Jack McKenzie well. That is awful, and one of his own fans potentially putting him out of a Scottish Cup final. And there's going to be a free kick here for Dundee, and a yellow card. Was that to Jason Holt who got it there? Yeah, it was. It's going to be a Dundee free kick in an attacking position. They are looking by far the more likely to add to their lead rather than St Johnstone turning this ship around. And this is an opportunity here. Cameron's already on site. Tiffany too. And Simon Murray just having a word with his teammate wearing the number 10, the man whose goal is making all the difference for Dundee on 54 minutes. Still goalless at Rugby Park between Kilmarnock and 10-man Hearts. Dundee looking for their second here. Cameron stands over it. A huge line of players just inside the box from left to right. 2-man wall, and Cameron went for goal, and it bounces off that 2-man wall, which has done its job there. Josh McPake and Graham Carey, but it's behind for a Dundee corner.
Yeah, and a chance to flood the box again. Sinclair's come and collected a couple, but they're beginning to flood that 6-yard box in and around them. They're all going in there. You'd imagine that Cameron's going to bend this right in on top of the keeper. So 5 players again. Palmer Holden again on his own at the back, no one near him.
And from Cameron's to the near post, and he's bouncing off Franchak behind for another corner, went through the legs of Portales.
Ronan Hill trying a long-range effort here in Dingwall. He must have been about 45 yards from goal. Spotted Ellery Balcom off his line, and just a little bit too high. It was audacious, it was ambitious, and ultimately it was off target. He with the only goal of this game, and he did have the ball in the net earlier as well for the most amusing moment of the game so far.
What is Balladis doing? The referee's just been over and warned him, and him and Shaughnessy are at it. Shaughnessy's doing nothing wrong, he's just standing his ground. Griffith is now with him, but Balladis is the one that keeps pushing him. The ball's in play, this could be a penalty kick.
He's just moved away from Shaughnessy. In fact, he's tried to get to the front of him. Alan will keep an eye on that. I'll watch the ball, which is about to be put into the box by Cameron, and it comes a slight breeze in the air that caught it there as well, and Franchak heads over his own bar, and it's going to be yet another Dundee corner kick. I don't know where this wind's come from. It's all of a sudden it's gusting across the main stand here.
2 balls on the pitch again.
Cameron waits to take this latest corner. It's short to Tiffany this time. Tiffany takes a touch, gets the cross ball in. A Dundee player tried to attack. It was Palmer Houlden. St Johnstone get it half away. Tiffany picks up on the near side. Lovely skill. Shuffles away from 2. Rolls it into Portales. Murray drags it onto his right foot. Shoots, blocked and cleared by Holt. Just couldn't quite get a proper sight of the goal there. As Larkesh drives it towards goal, it's blocked in the 18-yard line. Sidibe gets it away, and now suddenly St Johnstone are coming forward. The pass was delayed for Kirk, who must have gone into an offside position there. He did. Flag was up. The pass just didn't come anywhere near the right time there. Not sure how long McPake wanted to release the ball. It needed to come so much sooner for Kirk, because he would have been in.
But equally, Kirk's got to hold his run. I can see if he hears that he's offside, he's just got to slow down. I know he's wanting it. The thing is, he's very quick. He doesn't need a start. But he's got to look along the line himself.
But look who was charging back for Dundee. Yeah. Lyle Cameron. There will be a free kick then here for Dundee. Trevor Carson will take just outside his box. Remains Saints 0, Dundee 1. Ross County 1, Motherwell 0. County winning, but it's not enough. They need Dundee to lose. Dundee are winning though. It's a long ball, Carson. Tiffany, it's a lovely touch with the right foot, left-hand side of the Saints box here. Level with the 6-yard line, shows too much of it to Franchak, but he's run into trouble. Cameron's onto it, the left angle of the box, defended well though by Carey, who sweeps it clear. Kirk gives chase, shocked as he covers across and knocks it into the St Johnstone dugout, and that will be a Saints throw-in on this near side. Carey's over it. It's midway inside the Dundee half. He's going to leave it for Franchak because there was not enough movement as he tried to take the quick throw. A St Johnstone goal to level things would shake this afternoon up somewhat.
But they don't look like it, Liam, to be honest.
No. It doesn't mean they won't though. As Griffith flicks on, Sidibe looking for Carey, and then away by Astley. More height than distance in the clearance though. Bounces just outside the box here on this near side. Larkesh with the header away. Holt wins it back. Sidibe pulls it across. Kirk with his back to goal, can't control. Sidibe still interested though, and he reverses the shot just past the post. And Kirk went down, injured inside the box as well, as that went a good foot past the right-hand post, the goalkeeper's left, and it stays St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1. We're in minute 60.
Yeah, little half chance there for Sidibe, but on his weaker left foot, and he drags the shot wide. Mackenzie Kirk's struggling.
Yeah, he made that change at the break. I just wonder how long he waits before Uche Piezu comes on.
Ross County made a couple of changes. Liam with Dylan Smith coming on, the 20-year-old in the right wing-back position. George Harmon looks as if he's playing in a central midfield position for them. So just freshened it up, Don Cammy. You'd be looking for another goal to make things safe, and then it's down on the prayer mat, really hoping St Johnstone can turn that game around.
Well, at least from that perspective, St Johnstone had a sight of goal there, but Carey's run into trouble. Larkesh pinches it off him. It's Mulligan attacking the final third here. Over to Palmer Houlden on the right-hand side. Back to Shaughnessy, to Cameron, to Palmer Houlden just outside the D. Rolls it to Larkesh. Delicate ball in. It's behind all the teammates, including Mulligan, who slips. And it goes out for a throw-in over on the far side. And one of the Dundee players has just disappeared over the advertising. I just saw the 2 feet disappearing. Let's hope he's all right, because that could have been an awkward landing. Not sure who it was. The Saints fans enjoyed that. It looks as though he's okay, thankfully. And little handshake there as well. And it was Ryan Astley, who's a big guy, so it's falling from a greater height. But you just saw the 2 legs disappearing behind the advertising there.
Thankfully he's okay.
Yeah. Throw in St Johnstone, and deep inside their own half over on that left-hand side. Bowled forward there by Stephen, breaks into the midfield, and it breaks for Dundee. Larkesh in the centre circle, pushing it back to Clark Robertson. Long ball with the left foot. Palmer Houlden will chase. He's the only one still looking interested in this. It does bobble and bounce behind for the goal kick. But the St Johnstone defenders just stopped. Seb Palmer holding kept going.
And certainly the wind's picked up in the second half, Liam.
The match still being played in glorious sunshine though. And it will be a St Johnstone goal kick, which the keeper's not taking. It's played back to him though. And it's a long ball forward into the Dundee half. It goes. Robertson beats Sidibe in the jump. And it's out for a St Johnstone throw-in on this near side. Still Dundee leading by 1-0. Still Ross County leading by 1-0 against Motherwell. Goalless in the dead rubber at Rugby Park. Throw in here, Franchak over it for St Johnstone. On this right-hand side, headed away by Robertson up towards the halfway line. Murray chasing. Balodis facing his own goal, knocks it back to his keeper. First time clearance by Sinclair. He hangs in the wind again out on this near side. Larkesh's header was straight to Balodis. And then Griffith finds Holt. It's hard work at the moment for St Johnstone. You can see Dundee are so fired up for this.
Yeah, they've got everything to play for, Dundee now. You can see them working tirelessly to get that ball back. It's right down their team, you know, Shaughnessy in the middle, centre half, young Cameron's been brilliant as well. Simon Murray leads the line. The spine of that Dundee team, if they can just add a bit more quality, they'll certainly have a better season next season if they can stay up.
Having been top 6 last season, of course. They've lost so many goals this season late on though, Dundee, and that'll give St Johnstone and of course Ross County hope. Goals they've lost in the final 5 minutes of matches, the final 5. So from 85 minutes have cost them a total of 17 points across the season. If they kept hold of them, they'd be sitting on 55 points coming into this, and they'd be challenging for 3rd or 4th. That's how important it's been. Balodis puts it out deep inside his own half, and Dundee have a throw-in level with the St Johnstone 18-yard line.
And I think that sums up. The ball's just played over the top. Balodis is onto it, but Mulligan's right on top of him. The defender has to kick it out for a throw into Dundee, round about in line with the 18-yard box.
They'll feel aggrieved as well, Dundee, because they'll feel that this should be done by now, before today.
So. Yeah. The penalty during the week was incredible.
Yeah, and they've had a really good shout for one at Kilmarnock last week as Larkesh crosses into the St Johnstone box. They've got it away though, and Griffith has turned it out to that left-hand side, and McPake's onto it. Now he comes across the halfway line. Franchak's made a good run on the opposite side. Kirk's through the middle. Still comes St Johnstone with McPake, who is then tackled by the ball, it seems. He's tripped over it, and it goes out for a Dundee throw-in on the far side.
See, that's the thing about young McPake. You know, he has got a lot of attributes, really good ones as well, but things like that, you just got to get a bit more tidy.
64.5 played here. No sign of a St Johnstone equaliser, Rob, and for Ross County, no matter what they do, they need St Johnstone to step up here. Rob, watching that game in Dingwall.
Yeah, we're 5 minutes ahead of you. The second half got underway. We're just coming up to 70 minutes here. So Ross County in a winning position. They've got Jordan Amisa down and injured and getting a little bit of treatment. The goalkeeper at the moment, he's been fantastic for them every time I've seen them this season. So he's up and about. He's going to be able to continue. They don't really need to do anything else in this game other than not concede.
Rob, here's a chance for Mulligan. He scuffed his shot. Sorry, Rob.
No, I was just actually going to send it back towards your way, because unless things turn around dramatically in Perth, and I'm not sure that sounds too likely, Ross County shortly are going to be thinking towards that playoff final against Livingston next week.
There's a foul by Larkesh on Franchak, who claims, or Larkesh claims, he got enough of the ball to justify that not being a foul. St Johnstone are going to bring on Elliot Watt here, and the man on loan from Burton Albion is going to replace Jason Holt. He was talking in the week, Alan, about these back-to-back relegations he's now got in his CV. St Johnstone number 7 having gone down with Livingston a year ago.
Yeah, not a great record to have, you know, but he'll be here next year. He's got another year to go at St Johnstone, so we have to try and get them back out, because these are the ones that have put them there.
And Chat goes back there to Balodis, side steps away from Murray, low ball forward to Kirk, but he's running back into his own half here. There's the option over on the left, and Taylor Stephen That's where it goes, and it's knocked out to the left-hand touchline, and it is St Johnstone in possession. And he's just on Watt down the left-hand touchline. McPake steps onto his right side, facing away from goal, rolls it back to Carey. Carey's short ball over on the far side, and it's Taylor Stevens. Good return. Carey pulls it back, looking for Sidibe, then I think caught shot, you see there. That's going to be a yellow card for the Dama Sidibe, and it will be a Dundee free kick inside their own box. They lead 1-0 heading towards the final quarter of this match and the final day of the Premiership season.
Yeah, I think that's a justified yellow card. Good play again by Shaughnessy, getting in the right place. He just stands at that front post knowing the ball's coming along the ground, clears it, and Sidibe catches him late.
Free kick here for Carson to take. He's not in a particular rush to take it either. He looks to launch this one long. A reminder, the first leg of the Premiership playoff final coming on Thursday evening. Livingston will host, as it stands, Ross County. Dundee still in the mix, but every second that ticks away, the less likely it becomes that they are going to become embroiled in that. Saturday, Scottish Cup final, beleaguered looking Aberdeen looking to upset the odds against treble chasing Celtic. It's Saturday afternoon, live here in BBC Radio Scotland, live in the telly as well. The Women's Cup final to come the day after, as Lakesh wins the ball back in the box and he gets the shot away, but it's a good take by the goalkeeper on this occasion. I think Balodis managed to take the sting out of the effort from Lakesh, but St Johnstone giving it away inside their own penalty area.
Just not done what I expected of St Johnstone. I thought they would have put up more of a fight. You know, it's the last game at home against their rivals. But it's just simply, this just sums it up, really, the season.
The second leg of that Premiership playoff final to come a week tomorrow. And as I say, as it stands, that will be in Dingwall. Dundee driving down the right through Mulligan. He's had it pinched off him by Stephen, and now St Johnstone are coming forward. It's an overhit pass. It's so poor. The ball was aimed for Sidibe from Stephen, but he puts it straight into touch with a Dundee throw-in over on the far side. And it's looking, Alan Preston, very much like a third successive Premiership playoff final for Ross County.
Well, that's the thing, they're the specialists at it. The struggle against Thistle, it was comfortable last year for them.
Eventually, the second leg, yeah.
But I think this time, really, I think Livingston, right good side, playing well, you know, they do keep clean sheets. And I also think that the AstroTurf, regardless what anyone says, is certainly an advantage, because that kept them in the league.
Alan, they are very familiar here, as you know, with the Great Escape, so it's not unknown territory for them. They've just taken off their front two, Ronan Hale and Alex Samuel, and replaced them with Jordan White and Kieran Phillips, and the front two have been fantastic for Ross County. They've really worked their socks off, and the goal, it looks at the moment as if it's going to win the game, and it might not matter much in terms of survival, but it was a special finish, John Robertson, from Ronan Hale, 16th of the season.
I know the boys are saying it's a fantastic finish from Cameron down in Perth, but it'll do well to beat Ronan Hale's finish. It's a magnificent strike, and they're right, they've showed everything that County have needed today. Samuel busy, Hale busy, you know, Samuel's just been, you know, he's Simon Murray-esque in his work rate, and not got the goals that Simon scored, where Hale does have them. So they're a very, very good front pairing there, and I think that's a view potentially as well. Don Cowie's taking them off with 15-20 minutes to go here, just to keep them fresh in case he needs them for the playoff, as it's ever looking likely at the moment.
I think you do sense an air of resignation at the moment among the Ross County fans. It could all change, let's hope it does. Let's hope we get a little bit more drama, but right at the moment it does look as if it is going to be County in the playoffs against Livingston.
We need St Johnstone to score twice. Saints on the ball here. Carey, 71 minutes played. Dundee 1-0 up. Here's a chance for St Johnstone. Ball forwards cut out by Mulligan. It breaks out to that left-hand side. Taylor Stephen rolling it down the line. McPate's got Kirk and Sidibe and Carey in the middle. It's good play. Oh, he's overrun it. That's gone behind for the goal kick, I think. Yeah. he's overrun it again, and this has been a major issue for St Johnstone today, and when they get into that kind of area, they've just not been good enough.
No, and he has been in good areas, McPake, but his final delivery, his final pass, his final touch has let him down, and we've seen it again there. He goes by the defender like he's not there. He gets to the byline and then over hits it, and he goes out for a by kick.
Which will be taken by Carson. Highlights of
Callum Slattery's shot saved, fumbled by Amisa, and Kai Andrews was almost in on the rebound. Another effort from Motherwell is scrambled away. Well, if they were to score right now, then the possible party in Dingwall would seriously fall flat. But still 1-0 for the home team as things stand.
Marquesh, good run down the left, and it's not the worst ball in the world. St Johnstone get it clear. I was about to say highlights of the bottom 6 fixtures to come tonight on Sports Scene 7:15. The BBC Scotland channel repeated later on BBC One, and a look back at yesterday's top 6 games. And that will be it for the Premiership season. Still so much to play for. Dundee coming forward, in comes the ball. Palmer Houlden tries to head for goal. Did it come off the defender? No, it didn't, says the referee. And it goes behind for the goal kick. And actually, a minute ago, St Johnstone felt they should have had a corner up the other end.
Yeah, it was a corner as well. They're just trying, Clark Robertson just trying to run it out, and it was. Hits off him last.
Andy Halliday's just flashed a ball across the goal. It was screaming out for a finishing touch, which would have made it 1-1. But Ross County escaping that one. And now it's a shot back off the inside of the post. And again off the post. It's gone in, but it's not going to count because an offside flag has gone up on the far side. Well, it's been a crazy couple of minutes inside that penalty box. The ball ending up in the back of the net, but it's not going to count.
Crazy. It'll get checked, of course, and we'll wait and see. But first, Halliday does brilliant, scrums in, flashes it across the goal. Nobody could get on the end of it. They recycled it, was played back in, shot, crashed, hit the post, came out, came back again, shot in off the post. But this time it has been ruled out for offside.
So just about 11 minutes to go here. Ross County 1, Motherwell 0.
Yeah, Ross County's sequence of defeats coming at just the wrong time. And they're fortunate that penalty went in at the end of the game on Wednesday. That's what relegated St Johnstone, albeit it might well have been a different St Johnstone performance today had they still had the chance of survival. And they're not shown enough as McPake comes down the left. He's away from one. Has he got the quality this time? Up against Astley now, driving down the left-hand side, cuts in field, 25 yards from goal, and he drives for goal. And that's on its way. It's on its way to the Broxton roundabout.
Yeah, honestly, the young man's trying probably too hard, I would say now. Just simplify your game for 5-10 minutes. He does brilliant again, Liam. You see, he goes by players like they're not there. And again, can he roll a player in? Can he find a pass? He elects to hit when the ball's running away from him across his body, and he slices it. He's got good attributes, needs to piece it all together.
Dundee edging ever closer to survival. They're just 15 minutes plus stoppages away from that now. St Johnstone have it with Franchak though, just to the right of the centre circle. Is it pinched off him by Murray? The buzz bomb, he's on it now, and he's driving forward, Simon Murray. Left hand side of the box, gets the cross in. It's too close to Sinclair as he tried to find the head of Palmer Houlden. And we'll stay Saints 0, D1 here at McDermott.
They've not really laid the glove on them, St Johnstone. It's been comfortable. Tony Dockery, you know, although he doesn't look it, I'm sure his heart will be pounding still for this whole final 15 minutes plus whatever's added on. But it's been comfortable for them, needless to say, at this moment in time. But still time.
Well, Tyrone asked the question to Tony Docherty pre-match, would St Johnstone, already being relegated, make them a more dangerous side? The answer to that is no.
No, not at all.
Still time though, and it's Sidibe out to Carey on this right-hand side. Steps away from Murray. Back into his own half. Looks up, looking for an option on the left-hand side. It's a brilliant ball by Carey. And then the cross from Taylor Stevens, woeful. It was high across the face of goal and behind for a goal kick. And we'll stay 1-0 to Dundee.
You can see Simo Valakari down there. I mean, that's not difficult. He's 25 yards out. He just play it into the box, into an area, and he whips it right over the bar and out.
Well, Well, Dundee have a man down, perhaps with a bit of cramp. It's been a long season. A few of the Dundee players taking this opportunity to get some fluids on, and for one last effort to ensure that this is their final game of the season. And it's been a funny season for Dundee. Ups and downs. They've had some positive results along the way, some dreadful ones too. Most notably that 6-0 against Hearts, I think. You know, they've just shipped goals aplenty all season, and that's why they're in this position right now. As I mentioned, the goals they've lost, particularly late in matches, have cost them umpteen points.
Yeah, but Liam, I just think the whole season, now obviously one of the Dundee players is down getting some treatment, but the whole season for me has been bizarre. I mean, Hearts, worst start in their history. Hibs, worst start in their history.
Aberdeen, best start in their history.
Aberdeen's best start, then worst one. You're just... Dundee United have been consistent. Celtic obviously away, Rangers are there, but Dundee United have been consistently in that top 6. And then you go on to, as you said, 2 clean sheets for Dundee. St Johnstone have been dreadful. It's been... what a season it's been.
There's been stories all over the place, and there will still be more chapters to be written. Scottish Cup final, the playoff final. Then we've got the Scotland friendlies coming up on the 6th and 9th of June against Iceland and Liechtenstein respectively. And before you know it, it will be the League Cup groups, European qualifiers, and all comes round again. Dundee are going to make a change. Finn Robertson coming on. 7,170 inside McDermott. And huge contingent have made the short 25-minute journey from Dundee.
Scored, and any doubts about who's ending up second bottom have just been removed. The ball chipped in from the right side, and it was Moses B.A. climbing high to hit the ball behind Jordan Amisa. The Motherwell fans behind that goal go wild with delight, knowing that their team are going to keep this good post-split run going. But it's major deflation in Dingwall for Ross County. They are heading for the playoff final against Livingston.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's no more than Motherwell deserve. Second half, Rob, they've come back into it. The changes are made are huge. Andrews in the middle of the park, etc. It could have actually been a penalty to begin with. It looked like there was a trip in the box. The referee played on. They're just checking it to be sure for VAR. There's a little chip ball out, and Moses got up and just bulleted ahead of the home. And with 6 minutes to go, it's 1-1.
And here's Lyle Cameron with a shot at goal, which is held on to by Sinclair. But news of that Motherwell equalisers reach the Dundee supporters. They know they can pretty much enjoy the rest of this match. Is just over 10 minutes of it to play here in Perth.
And he might be out about to score again as he skips through and then drags his shot wide. Great bit of play from him. Long ball up. He held off Tompkinson. He spun away. Looked like that was heading inside the post. It's gone wrong side for him. But the story is over as far as Ross County are concerned on the day. They can now start thinking about those 2 massive matches to come as they try to tunnel away out of trouble one more time. For a 3rd successive season, they're going to finish in 11th place in the Premiership.
Yeah, I mean, you do wonder how many times they can survive that if they keep dropping down that hole.
Well, that's what I was saying about St Johnstone. It's been a slow decline. They were in the playoff final a couple of years back. They got out the skin of their teeth last year. You know, County it is, they're the playoff specialists at the moment.
Big but message. Sorry, Alan.
You end up where you end up. It's as simple as that. Celtic are the best team, St Johnstone are the worst, and then everyone else falls into place. You wouldn't say, you know, Rangers have been the second best. Hibs have arguably been the best of the rest out with the top 2. You know, so they deserve to be there. I think Dundee United deserve to be above Aberdeen because they've been better, more consistent throughout the season.
Well, that's the problem. Consistency is the issue for many of the teams in the league. Just the 4 teams in positive goal difference. The 2 Edinburgh clubs in the top 2. 4 out of the 12 have a positive goal difference.
That's what I'm saying. This season's been madness. It really is.
What does that tell you about the defending in this country? St Johnstone have a player being helped off the pitch here, having
Balladis.
Yeah, although he's limping very heavily as well. Dundee had made a change just when you were listening to Rob there. Finn Robertson came on, and he replaced Palmer Holden. A change coming then for St Johnstone, and it's the youngster, the 16-year-old Callan Hamill, who's agreed to join Arsenal in the summer. He's going to make his St Johnstone debut with 8.5 minutes, not even that left on the clock, and he replaces Balodis. He's got an exciting summer coming up, is he not?
Wonderful for him as well, young man, 16 years of age, highly regarded.
He must be buzzing.
Going down to Arsenal, magnificent.
The Saints will wish him well that he's getting some action in the St Johnstone first team. So 1-1 in Dingwall, nowhere near enough for Ross County, but it wasn't happening for them here anyway. Dundee leading this game by a goal to nil. Niall Cameron scoring on 28 minutes, and St Johnstone have not looked like scoring at all, really, across the match. They started brightly the first 10 minutes, and then Dundee took a stranglehold on things. Larkesh's throw-in finds Tiffany down this near side. To Larkesh in the touchline, infield to Cameron, and now Portales rolls it to right of the centre circle for Mulligan. Is he playing his final few minutes as a Dundee player? And it's still over on the right. The cross is deflected behind from Robertson as it bounces off Stephen, and it will be a Dundee corner.
Yeah, and that goal, Tony Dockery will know that goal's gone up at Dingwall for Motherwell. Without a doubt he will know. And it's easy now, just play it short, keep the ball. 7 minutes to go.
It's gone perfectly for Tony Docherty, because he must have been stressed out about it last night.
Without a doubt, you know, obviously what happened midweek at Dens in the last minute. He's still going mad though, you can still see him going mad.
Outswinging corner for Dundee. Cameron over it. Into the box it comes, helped on its way by Portales, headed half clear, and Murray volleys it high over the bar from 18 yards. He's having a look around as if he should be getting a corner. He's not getting one. Will be just the goal kick, and it will stay Saints 0, Dundee 1. And no goals at Rugby Park that game between Kilmarnock and Hearts. Hearts have been down to 10 men for a good chunk of that, but no goals. Jan Danda was sent off 7 minutes from half time, but no breakthrough in that one, and perhaps that would be the least surprising 0-0 draw of the season, if indeed it finishes that way.
Kai Andrews with a shot for Motherwell, and Dingwall blocked. He's looked mighty impressive, the Welsh teenager coming off the bench there, finishing with a real flurry. Or Motherwell, they've taken a while to get into the game and have a major impact in the game, but well, they hit the post twice before they scored, and since they've scored they've been pretty impressive. But we're still trying to cope with the shock of hearing so little of Craggs over 90 minutes from Rugby Park. That's been a shocker as well.
I'm not sure he's had too much to say. We'll get a full-time report from him once we're done here. But he's had absolutely nothing to report in the second half, and I think Richard said he'd have the cigars and brandy out. Well, he could have done in the end.
I think he does that in most games, doesn't he?
Touch of class. Here comes St Johnstone down the left-hand side. An opportunity perhaps to put pressure on the Dundee defence, but again, it's just all broken down for them when they get up to that area of the pitch, and on this occasion it was Spranglers driving out the defence all the way through to the Dundee defensive third, and his attempted ball was blocked. Dundee clear.
We're just going to get stoppage time here in Dingwall. 5 minutes are going to be added on. Kieran Phillips off the bench for County had a chance a moment ago, 15 yards out, firing wide of target. Don Cowie would be keen to win this game. He'd be keen to get another goal if he can in stoppage time, just to head into those playoffs on the back of a win. It's been so long since they won. It's 2.5 months since they won a game, and it looks like that trend is going to continue here.
It was good play by St Johnstone there, and it's young Hamill who gets his shot away from the edge of the box, and he's unfortunate actually, got plenty behind it as he looked for that bottom right corner. Carson holds on though, and it stays 1-0 Dundee, and we're about to go into the final 4 minutes of the 90 here in Perth. Long ball forward, Balodis is underneath it, and now it's going to be picked up by Murray as Dundee pinch it back. Now Mulligan rolls it out to Tiffany on this left-hand side. Back to Cameron. To Mulligan, then to Cameron again on the near side. To Larkesh, to Cameron. Looking for Tiffany, cut out by Carey, who then runs into Griffith, and Murray profits from it, wins it back for Dundee, and he's away into the corner here. Happy with his lot. It's Simon Murray, it bounces off him and goes behind for the goal kick from Graham Carey's challenge.
But does that just not sum St Johnstone up? Two players tackle each other, leave the ball, and Simon Murray nips in.
St Johnstone are asking their fans to stay in their seats after the final whistle, just to allow the players to give them an applause for their support across the campaign. I'm not sure too many of them will want to hang around, will they?
Should be the other way about. They should be applauding the fans.
There's Hamill down the right here, and it's Cameron. Sits Cameron down, turns back, then it comes off Larkesh and out for a St Johnstone throw in on this near side. And Franchak will take it. It'll be interesting to see if St Johnstone can bounce back straight away. We've seen in recent years the two Dundee clubs and Kilmarnock come back at the first time of asking. Livingston could yet do it themselves via the playoff, and finally we can hear from Stephen Craigan at Rugby Park, because something else has happened.
Indeed, Liam, first of all, I've got to say the brandy tastes terrific. Anyway, it looks like there's been a late winner here at Rugby Park, and it's gone to the away side. Kilmarnock have been doing all the pushing in the second half. They've had the chances, the ball's flashed across the face of goal, and it's hard. It's a real sucker punch. Stephen Kingsley, free kick into the box on the right hand side. Kilmarnock couldn't get it clear. Kingsley set himself and put it off the inside of the left hand post. So it's Kilmarnock 0, Hearts 1.
He's got a goal and a red card to tell us about. That's about it for Stephen Craigan, but it was the other way around when they met in December, wasn't it? Kilmarnock with 10 men won the match. Hearts down to 10 men after Jan Dander's red card today. Look to have won that one, Alan.
Yeah, you know, it's another poor season for Hearts as well, but they can come away from a victory in the Del Clasico and would be decent.
Except he's not there. He might well be at Tynecastle tomorrow.
Jordan Amisa got hands to it. Looked like it was going to wriggle over the line for a moment. Moses Abie tried to get a touch on it. Some save from Amisa. Great effort from Maswanise for Motherwell. And their season may be effectively over. Michael Wimmer's team, but this has been played like a cup tie in the last 20 minutes, and Motherwell are desperate to win it, and they were very close with that effort, saved by Amisa. Here's another opportunity, diving header, saved by Amisa. The follow-up from Moses Abie goes wide. It was Tom Sparrow's header. He's got his head in his hands because he can't believe it's not 2-1.
It's incredible. Motherwell have battered the County second half. You know, County come out very early, a couple of hail chances, but well, I've written down here about 10 opportunities. How they've not won this game is incredible. County have dropped off. They know their chance had gone. They know it wasn't going for them up here, it wasn't going for them down the road.
Kieran Phillips is almost in. He takes a tumble. I think it's at the edge of the area, outside the box rather than in it. There's a yellow card for Stephen O'Donnell. There will be a free kick for Ross County. This will be their last chance to win the game, because we've added nearly 5 minutes already. So once this free kick is taken, that will be that, and Ross County will be heading for 2 matches to come against Livingston.
It's a big moment as well for County, because just as you said, Rob, if they could score here, it gets them off that winning road. No, to go into the playoffs on the back of what would be 9 games without a win.
Yeah,
would be hard, but they've got a chance here just to get that win off their backs there. That winning streak.
It looks like this is set up for George Harman.
Perfect here for George Harman.
Right side of the penalty box, a yard outside. Conor Randall's there as well, but he's going to leave it to Harman. So can he finish this season with a flourish for the Dingwall team? 4 on the wall for Motherwell. Just about all set to go. The last action of the match. George Harman, and it's a bit of an anticlimax because it's too high. It didn't dip quickly enough, and Ross County haven't done enough to get themselves out of second bottom spot. Don Robertson's final whistle goes. Ronan Hale scored brilliantly for the home team. That was cancelled out second second half by Moses Ebie. It's finished 1-1 in the last game of the season in Dingwall, and Ross County now have to ready themselves for the playoff final against Livingston. 1-1 final score here.
Yeah, and the Dundee supporters with an extra cheer as they get news that it's all over in Dingwall. And they had a little cheer for Simon Murray as well, who has gone off and been replaced by Charlie Riley. We're into the second of 6 minutes of stoppage time here, with Dundee leading 1-0 thanks to that first half Lyle Cameron goal. And that's the problem for Ross County, Alan. As John says, they are 9 games without a win. Livingston have won 8 of their last 10.
That's it, breeds confidence. Livingston are flying, having watched them. Really good side, Livingston. There's going to be some game starting Thursday night.
Charged down the pass, square ball across to below. This is Tiffany. Tiffany has it on this near side as he knocks it up the line, but it's gone straight into touch for a St Johnstone throw-in. But the Dundee supporters have been in celebratory mood for most of the second half, but that final whistle went in Dingwall. That's it. They know.
That's it.
They know. They are safe.
Holiday time, another year in the Premiership. And you've got to say, I think some of the decisions they've had over the course of the season have been very harsh on them.
Yeah, Tony Docherty will feel it's justified.
Yeah, I would agree with them.
And they stay up. Carey for St Johnstone, lovely little ball. Hamill, right hand side, pulls it back right to the 6-yard box. Robertson gets it away. He's had a good impact since he come on, you can tell.
I told you he was a player.
Yeah. Carey on this near side, on the right side, his cross goes straight into the side net. And we've got 3 minutes left of the Premiership season. It's been full of twists and turns, full of stories, as it normally is. And it's not finished yet. It will be Livingston against Ross County on Thursday night in the first leg of the Premiership playoff final at Ammanvale. Saturday, Aberdeen Celtic in the Scottish Cup final. Glasgow City Rangers in the Women's Cup final on Sunday. And then the second leg of that playoff, Ross County will be at home to Livingston on the Monday night, a week tomorrow. All live here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland as Charlie Riley picks up. Lesser spotted Charlie Riley, and that's gone behind for the goal kick. Just let it go through his legs there. But this game is petering out. Mosila is going to come on for one final change for Dundee for the season.
You wonder, there'll be changes at St Johnstone, but you just wonder at Dundee what kind of, how many players are going to stay. Well, obviously Cameron's away, Mulligan could be away.
Just 2 huge losses for them, isn't it?
Well, we've seen it with McCowan. That's how they've struggled this year, without someone like his creativity, really.
Given away by St Johnstone, it's with Riley. And then Portales finds Cameron, 2 options to the left. He's looking for Larkesh. Can Dundee finish with a flourish here? Larkesh is into the box, left hand side of the 6-yard area. He goes down, and Dundee have a penalty. Dundee have a penalty right at the end here. And they will get potentially one last chance to celebrate before the final whistle and finish their season in the best possible way, having been threatened with that relegation playoff.
It's an easy decision. Carey clips him. He goes beyond Carey. Really good play by Larkesh. He bursts himself to get there. Cuts across Carey. Carey just then sticks a leg out, trips him up, down he goes. Although I bet Tony Docherty wished this penalty was about 25 minutes ago.
He's down there pacing with his hands in his pockets, but he'll be able to raise his hands pretty soon, even if this doesn't go in, because the final whistle is coming not too long after this spot kick, which Lyle Cameron's going to take as he looks for his second. Off to Rangers in the summer, but he is leaving an indelible mark on Dundee and saving them from the spectre of relegation. Cameron to finish the Dundee season with some style. Right-footed penalty, he does! Sends the keeper the wrong way, into the right corner of the net as well. And Lyle Cameron is mobbed by Dundee supporters on the pitch. His second, Dundee's second. Dundee are staying up. It's St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2.
Incredible stuff. There's people coming on from the other side of the pitch.
And a kid's
Somebody's
nicked the
got
corner
the corner
flag.
Yeah. Somebody's away with the corner flag here. This is getting out of hand in Scottish football, I'm afraid. This has to stop. Running away with a corner. Simon Murray, thankfully, is telling him to get off. He's got the corner flag. He's going to put it on. There must be 30, 40 people on the pitch. Kids, but mainly grown adults as well.
He's told one of the kids to put the corner flag back. So I can only imagine they're not going to disrespect the top scorer, and they have done, thankfully. But you can hear the Dundee supporters in the background celebrating. There were quite a few came on there. It could have been more, and there could be more at the final whistle.
Well, as I said at the start to Richard, I've never seen so many police at a game like this. And sure, as you can see them all, they're all round the Dundee end now. I wouldn't worry about the St Johnstone fans.
Stephen McLean's ended it. All over. Dundee survive and live to fight another day at the top table. A double from Lyle Cameron, one in the first half, and then from the penalty spot in stoppage time. And the Dundee supporters are making their way onto the pitch en masse now. Scenes we saw at Tannadice yesterday. And the St Johnstone fans over on the far side are reacting as well. But the 2 goals from Cameron, coupled with Ross County's inability to beat Motherwell, means Dundee finish the season in 10th.
We've got a serious problem down here. The St Johnstone goalkeeper's getting abused down there, and Simo Valakari's son is on his coaching staff. They're going to get a shoot to get him off.
Yeah, this is... You can understand the elation from the Dundee supporters, and it's coming at the home of a bitter rival as well. But the Dundee fans are on there in their hundreds right now. Many of them have stayed in the stands, but there are plenty out there on the pitch just now. The St Johnstone players can't get off quickly enough. But Dundee celebrate. They will be in the Premiership for next season. St Johnstone, we already knew, would be in the Championship next season. Their 16-year stint in the top flight is now officially over. And Ross County, for the 3rd successive season, will contest the Premiership playoff final, where they will meet Livingston. It finished here in Perth. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2.
On digital.